So beyond all that freaky, weird sex stuff that we're talking about, right. I'm more taken, as far as the meaning goes, I'm more taken by the overall theme of this movie being about becoming more human. That's established right away with Spock. We're coming off of 3 seasons of Spock trying to completely suppress his human side.
I have a human half, you see, as well as an alien half, submerged, constantly at war with each other. I survive it because my intelligence wins out over both, makes them live together.
Trying to purge himself of emotionality. He's really good at it. He's very good at being Vulcan, but he, struggles here and there, but he's very good at it.
Let me alone!
It opens with Spock ready to completely reject his human side and embrace pure logic, the whole Kolinar thing, pure Vulcan identity, right? Shed his humanity entirely. And it's highlighted how cold he is, as we talked about, when he's first reunited with everybody. That's important to showcase that.
Mr. Spock, welcome aboard.
Again, like him being cold. Everybody expects him to be emotional, but he's cold. That's completely in character. By witnessing the journey of V'ger, Spock kind of accepts his flaw. That is the whole point of this movie, is that just before he reaches Kolinar, it's interrupted by this weird consciousness attempting to communicate with him from space. So through this whole process, Spock learns more about himself. He learns to accept his flaw that he is half human. Because V'ger basically represents the end game of living a completely logical existence.
V'ger has knowledge that spans this universe. And yet, with all its pure logic, V'ger is barren, cold.
The Vulcan ideal is a picture painted by V'ger. Eventually, you run out of things to know. Like V'ger's whole mission is to go out into the universe and come back with knowledge. Eventually, you run out of things to know, and there's nothing left but cold, empty existence.
No mystery. No beauty.
Existence that otherwise should be balanced with emotion, the other half of the human experience.
This simple feeling is beyond V'ger's comprehension. No meaning, no hope. And Jim, no answers. It's asking questions.
What questions?
Is this all that I am? Is there nothing more?
Which becomes a whole new frontier for V'ger after combining with Decker to produce a new life form that, we never see, of course. It's like they make like the Star Child from 2001 or whatever. And so Spock sees himself in V'ger. The biggest tragedy of this whole fucking thing between the theatrical and the director's edition is they cut out a scene where Spock literally cries over understanding V'ger.
I weep for V'ger as I would for a brother. As I was when I came aboard. So is V'ger now. Empty, incomplete, and searching. Logic and knowledge are not enough.
V'ger is like a brother to me, like a fellow traveler going through this whole thing of like Spock is stuck between logic and emotion, but V'ger can't help but be only logical and is like seeking something else. Like, is there anything more than just information? Is there anything more than just cold information forever? Right. So it literally makes Spock cry. It's very beautiful.
Spock, are you saying that you found what you needed, but V'ger hasn't?
What would V'ger need to fulfill itself?
Each of us, at some time in our lives, turns to someone, a father, a brother, a god, and asks, why am I here? What was I meant to be? V'ger hopes to touch its creator, to find its answers.
Is this all that I am? Is there nothing more?
Spock sees himself in V'ger the same way that an adult may see themselves in the naive, explorative path of a child. I'm sure you do this with your kids all the time. I do that with my nieces and nephews all the time. It's like I see them going through my journey, decades ago, and you want to help them through it. But they fucking cut that out of the theatrical, which is ridiculous. Yeah. So that's all the more interesting for me than this stupid sexual imagery hinting at the eventual combining of V'ger and the creator, this joining thing that comes out of nowhere. Like, why would a space probe be talking about joining rather than coming home and delivering the information? This giant buttholes and vaginas in space thing that is ridiculous. That stuff makes sense, kinda, after the actual joining, at the end, but it's kind of arbitrary, therefore, up to that point.
V'ger is barren.
And to your point, McCurdy, if V'ger is pure logic, why does it care about living a barren life if emotionality is required to feel that way in the first place? Is that just Spock being emotional on behalf of V'ger, or is V'ger having feelings because of Ilea? But if V'ger's having feelings because of Ilea, why is it not having feelings because of everything else that it's assimilated along the way? Not just the planets, but all of the living creatures on those planets. This can't be the first time that V'ger has come across living creatures with emotions and assimilated them. So why is it different with Ilea?
Real?
Ilea.
So let me be clear. I don't think that stuff makes the movie bad. I like this movie. It's just that it's simply not as concrete as Spock's story of becoming more human, becoming more appreciative of his human side, and accepting his emotionality as a blessing instead of a curse. Something to be embraced rather than eliminated.
Spent a whole lifetime learning to hide my feelings.
That for me is where the real story lies, while the Decker, Ilea, Voyager stuff feels a little sloppy at times. Not bad, just incomplete. The combining of Voyager and Decker in the end slips off the ledge into the abstract. It's a lot of riz without enough tiz to back it up. It's combining a whole lot of ideas that kind of fit together, but kind of don't. Again, we see V'ger several times assimilate different life forms, and those life forms are converted into data, but in the process, V'ger never stumbled upon the concept of emotions. It was only after randomly turning Ilea into a probe and having fleeting emotional moments with Decker that suddenly V'ger is searching for something more than logic.
Within you are the memory patterns of a certain carbon unit. If I can help you to revive those patterns, you could understand our functions better.
That is logical.
So all V'ger has ever wanted is to deliver information to the creator to fulfill its programming.
V'ger is transmitting a signal.
V'ger signals the creator.
V'ger expects an answer.
An answer? I don't know the question.
The creator has not responded.
But now all of a sudden it wants to evolve and become something more? This thing is nothing but perfect logic, and yet it has this kind of emotional side to it? That only makes sense when Spock is talking about it because Spock is tapping into his emotions. But V'ger doesn't have the emotionality in which to do so, so it kind of contradicts. Okay, so whatever. So it wants to become something more than pure logic. What was stopping it from doing that before? It's literally conscious. So what exactly is the difference between assimilating life forms, creating a probe based off a Deltan, and combining with Decker? I get that Decker is the creator in Voyager's eyes, but all the same, what difference does that make when he's not the first life form to be assimilated? There's just something about V'ger's insistence on having sex with its father that feels a little out of character.
Voyager is not transmitting its data, Captain.
The creator must join with V'ger.
It feels like one of the writers, again, one of the many writers we keep talking about, really wanted to force it in there. Like really force it in there, McCurdy.
Wow.
It's like, I just read this psychology book where children secretly want to have sex with their parents. So I want the crew of the Enterprise to penetrate a giant butthole in space and have sex with a little girl human machine hybrid thing. Because I just read Dream Psychology by Freud or whatever. And now I think everybody secretly wants to f their parents. The original series episode, The Changeling, that we already mentioned, didn't need any of that sexual stuff to drive the point across. Here's a machine out in space that receives consciousness and then returns back to it. Like, where's the creator? Give me the creator.
Where is the creator? What do you think?
This is like a weird transhumanist story in the end. But I get it because otherwise there would be no ending.
Decker, don't. Jim, I want this. As much as you wanted the Enterprise, I want this.
Thematically, it makes more sense. Why? Like watching that one scene and then picking up on the whole how much the Spock stuff is in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, why does it go with Ilea?
One would say it's illogical.
Illogical.
I agree with you completely that it should have been Spock. Storytelling logic, it should have chosen Spock to be its Mouth of Sauron. Instead, it chose Ilea because somebody read Freud and wanted to shove that in. Guys, I just read this book by this guy named
Sigmund Freud.
Did you know that everybody wants to f their parents? V'ger's coming back to talk to the creator. Maybe we can do this whole thing where it's like V'ger wants to like f its creator, and then like we have this like sexual being, and like she likes Decker, and so like Decker is gonna f her, and then that's gonna create like a star child. Like remember, didn't we all went and saw 2001, right? Like remember the Star Child at the end? We're gonna make the Star Child by having Ilea as V'ger, Decker, and like it's gonna have people leaving the theater being like, that was so meaningful, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know, this doesn't really connect with the Spock.
The movie
thing.
is so heady. Like the movie is so like wants to be very intellectual, and it does feel like Star Trek. Like they were like, well, Star Wars did the swashbuckling thing, we can't do that, and it's like,
yeah,
Star Trek had.
This has to be a little more intellectual.
People are always like, Star Trek's very intellectual, but Star Trek does have the swashbuckling stuff in there. Like, you watch certain episodes, it's still there.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice to have more of that, you know?
The movie would have gone too far in the Riz to Tiz. It would have been too Tiz had it just been Spock as the Mouth of Sauron, and it's like, hey, you're the creator? Okay, what's the code? And they're like, here's the code. And then that's it.
Yeah.
V'ger's like, I did it. I fulfilled my programming. Here's all of the information, creator. You know, instead they're looking at it and they're going, oh, this ending is so tizzy. What do? We need to Riz it up.
Let's make it a little sexy.
Let's make it sexual. Let's have this ambiguous ending of
What would V'ger need to fulfill itself?
we need there to be something crazy that happens here. As they say, we need the birth of a new species. We need something nuts and ambiguous and inspiring to happen. So we need a human to combine with a machine. It like kind of works, but again, it's like the sexual stuff doesn't exactly connect with the Spock trying to be more human stuff. Spock and V'ger are trying to be more human, and then to achieve that, Ilea needs to f Decker in a shower of sparks, and then there needs to be a and then the ship disappears for some reason, and they talk about a baby that we never see. Like, I get it. Like, had they chosen Spock, it would have been a boring ending. Doing the sexual stuff is ambiguous. We just witnessed a birth, and it's like, yeah, everybody's gonna walk out of the theater and be like, that made sense, right? When really I'm like, I really don't think it connects with the idea of trying to be like, it's literally becoming more human. It's like, I need to join with the creator. Like they say, they're like, V'ger needs to evolve, and it's mastered logic, and now it needs a little emotion. But like, what does that mean? Like in all likelihood, would they have cut to a like human robot hybrid at the end?
Well,
and it's
okay,
like,
I'll say
this
this.
is ridiculous.
I will say this. Some people in the fandom, at least, are like, well, have always questioned, like, what was the thing that it created? Like, what did we... And some people were like...
Star Child.
There was at one point that were like, well, was it the Borg? Did it create the Borg? Which I don't think that was the case.
The Borg is ultra logical. There is no emotion with the Borg. So there's no way that it created the Borg, because the Borg are a collective without emotion. They represent logic taken to its extreme. V'ger represents logic taken. V'ger already was the Borg, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I just go, I see what they're trying to do, but at the end of the day, I go, No, your weird Freudian sex
you laying that out does make me wonder. And again, I want to go back and read the original script to see how much of that was in the original script. Was this a part of the rewrites of the script?
Yeah.
Because the original script would have let Ilea continue and Decker continue in the show. You know, they would have been characters in the show if it was still phase 2, but they weren't. So I'm curious where that all led to and what that would have been. So I need to go back. I know it's out there. You can read that, the in thine image script, but like even the idea of like it's in thine image and all that idea. It's like, it's all there, but it's also funny to me that it's like, you're talking about all this Freud stuff. And then the studio was okay with that, but they were not okay with like Chariot of the Gods, Ancient Aliens stuff that they originally were going to go with. They're like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're not going there, but we'd rather do this, which is funny because like later down the road, we go back to some Chariot of the Gods type in a later movie. But like, yeah, this movie's it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
If you like Star Trek, you might like this movie, but it's not the one you go, hey kids, do you want to watch a Star Trek movie?
Yeah.
To like a newbie who doesn't know anything about Star Trek, it's not that movie.
As you just hinted at, you get the celebratory, like, Star Trek is back stuff. But then you get this, you're like, okay, part of this is cool where it's like, it's a journey. It's like V'ger is on a journey. It's a child, like an ultra logical child trying to become more human. Okay, that's really cool. But then
it's the way in which it's told is very boring.
Thank you for watching that clip.
If you'd like to watch the full episode ad-free, please become a member.
Live long and prosper and get f***ed.
However, first things first, set phasers to maximum and destroy that like button. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment about how nice I look in my brand new uniform.